Good morning, everyone. Justin from Aquaponics here. Hope you're well. Just want to give you a Saturday morning update on my hydroponic and aquaponic systems. As you can see behind me, I have one of the follow the sun units. Just a midsummer update. Also an update on the wicking bed, what's worked and what hasn't worked through the course of this very wet summer we've had in Melbourne. But let me just show you a few things. I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll give you a bit of a tour of what's happening here. So this is what I call follow the sun. It is basically a mobile greenhouse with using a flood and drain principle, an aquaponics or hydroponics style of irrigating, constantly the water coming into these grow beds and flooding into the sump tank below. Let's have a look at the harvest so far. We've been harvesting a lot of cherry tomatoes. They've been very successful. Having a greenhouse does help the situation, but also you can see the spinach has done exceptionally well. It's actually huge. Look at that, the spinach. There's the size of my hand, and that spinach has taken off. Kale, spinach. This is really a juice box. We've got some celery coming on here. We've planted. We have a cucumber, which is starting to fruit, a tomato here. So I'm always planting. That's the key. Don't just plant once. You're always planting every fortnight or so, putting a new seedling in, so you have that constant food coming through. And the key is you're picking. You're not harvesting. You're taking what you need at a particular time. So today we'll grab a few of these tomatoes. We've already harvested a whole lot, but as we need them. This has actually gone a bit crazy, and he's gone through the top. As I said, we're going to talk about what's worked and what hasn't worked. And one of the things that didn't factor in is the height that this guy was going to grow. So I had to make some adjustments there. Over here on the wicking bed, this is my mobile wicking bed. This is normally around the front of the house on the driveway. It's as you can see, it's done. It's also got tomatoes. We've got pumpkin. We've got cucumber. We've got spring onions. It's very happy with the progress here of that wicking bed. The butternut pumpkins in a very, very small space. This is a metre by a metre. As you can see, it's an IBC tub, cut, put on casters, and the key here is the watering from the bottom up. That's a wicking bed, so we water from the bottom up. We have a pipe which goes down along the bottom with holes in it. We just every couple of weeks put some a whole 9-litre watering can into there, and the plants just soak it up. That's been very successful. Cherry tomatoes are coming along. As I said, you can see those pumpkins, and I did think they were cucumbers. I made a bit of a mistake there. I planted thinking I was planting cucumbers, and I decided, well, that's not a cucumber. And that was a bit of a laughing joke of the household. Some great tomatoes, black Russian tomatoes in the middle here. So many varieties. Got some Romas kicking on, but we have had a cold, wet summer here in Melbourne, so the tomatoes are definitely behind, but it's still working quite well. What hasn't worked? Well, I'll tell you a few things that haven't worked. These tomatoes and this unit is sitting in another part of the property. It's on the driveway, so using dead space. We have had a few insects, and particularly caterpillars, get into the tomatoes, and I have heard in Melbourne that's been a bit of a problem. Over here, I have not had that problem. And I'm believing because I've got kale in here, and really the caterpillars are loving the kale, as you can see, that's been sort of the sacrificial lamb, and they're leaving the tomatoes alone. I'm happy with that. The kale's used for juicing. We're squashing caterpillars all the time, just getting in here and trying to find them. There's one there, right there. So, you find them, and there we go. Bye-bye. Put him out to pasture. And that's it. That's the maintenance on the pest side. For the actual fortnightly maintenance, what's the secret ingredient? That's it. 50 mils of that into that water, into there probably every fortnight. So it's not often, but there's your 50 mil container. Power feed. That's got your NPK. It's organic, it's seaweed based, it's sea salt's big brother. Simple as that. So that's from the hardware store. That's all I put in the sump tank. and it's working. Very little maintenance. We've been away on holiday for a week, come back to a Garden of Eden. So very happy here with what's going on. Bok choy, we've got some celery growing. We've got some basil there as well. More maintenance. What are we doing to when we add plants to this? I just sow my seeds in a little pot like that with a bit of a vermiculite. It's a little number and a code there, so I know what it is. And it simply is doing that. That's it. That's been so not disturbing the roots, and that's another basil that'll kick off in that the grow tubes there. So very happy with what's happening here in the Follow the Sun. I'm making these units. That's a single grow bed, a dual grow bed, 2 meters long by 700 by 700 high, with a steel framed trolley. They're becoming very popular at the moment, so I'm making those as a unit. They can be found on my website. I will make them, design them, talk to you obviously about what you need, install, and also be there on hand when you need some advice and help. So it's a full service, and that's what you get from Agri Aquaponics and myself. Going back to some more maintenance, if we do need to spray for caterpillars, I don't like spraying, but we'll use an organic, it's Nature's Way caterpillar killer. This is it's a bacteria, and just makes them sick and die. They die, doesn't affect anyone else, but we can use that for the caterpillars if necessary. We also have a aquaponics system here on the property. It's a small one. This is one of my first ones, so it's not the prettiest thing to look at, but it does work wonders. So we've got lots of that's a mint basil, fantastic perennial basil. A lot of kale. I use a lot of kale. We have some daisies here, not for eating, but that's to scare the butterflies away. So your butterfly is your biggest threat because they will bring the caterpillars. And I use these covers, and on my systems I will supply covers. So when you buy a two bed system, that's what you're virtually getting, those 2 beds. So ignore the bottom section because that's with a timber frame, but a 2 bed system with the cover and frame. And I've had that cover on just to get these tomatoes going. I've got some strawberries, more celery, some peppers. Those 2 are peppers there. And these again are using the flood and drain principle with these grow balls. So these are aerated clay. So again, it's organic material, it's clay which has been baked, and it's got microscopic holes, and those microscopic holes are holding the bacteria, holding the nutrients, and really becoming a nutrient bank for us. We have our bell siphon. That's the secret of the sauce here. The water levels comes up to the top of that standpipe, drains through the height of that standpipe, which can be adjusted, mind you, and then creates a suction and then empties into the sump tank. So that's in this system I have the fisher in the barrel there. So this is a pure 100% aquaponics system. My other one is hydroponics. I have also under this cover some, oh look at that kale, gosh almighty. We've got some, this is using NFT gutters. So the water's constantly flowing down through the gutters and back into, and using this purely for my strawberries. It's all going well so far. Pests are your biggest problem, but keeping it off the ground has definitely helped. I have no snail problems, which is great, opposed to what we have here in the garden. These guys, this was planted very similar time to, actually this pumpkin here was planted the same time that pumpkin was planted. Different sun exposure and different water. That's the only thing I can pick it. The compost is exactly the same. It's bagged compost from the garden store, but we're different water allocation here. Obviously had not as much water as these guys, and these guys have a water bank at the bottom, and they're using it as they need it. That's the key. So the key thing I'm doing here at Agri Aquaponics is harnessing water, using it wisely, and recycling that water. So once our banks are full of water, that's circulating. That pump does not stop. We use a quality PondMax pump, 3-year warranty on those, and that water is constantly circulating, filling up into this grow bed. Here it is here, going in. It does not stop, day and night. Using 20 watts of power, so very little. It's like a single light bulb of power. With my aquaponics system over there, it is on battery and solar, so that's completely off the grid. We can do that. We can, and that's what I do. I consult, I listen to what you want to achieve, and we can design a system suitable, whether it's full aquaponics or whether it's, there's my solar and battery. And we'll, and you tell me what you want, and we'll put something together. But the concept will be definitely using these tubs. These are proven. They're quality food grade ponds. They're actually made for ponds, and using the clay balls as the medium and the flood and drain principle. And you can hear it here. It's actually draining into the sump. So very happy with what we've got so far. Midsummer, strawberries are doing well, and having the covers definitely helps. Protection is the key, as we know, and if you can protect your crop, it'll, particularly with the strong rain we've had recently and the winds, you get something that looks like this. And as I said before, the key is you don't come and take the whole lot in one day, you pick. So we're foraging, and that's the key. So with the maintenance, it's all about, okay, I don't need that leaf, I'll take him out. Look at the size of that. That's a perennial spinach. So here in summer in Melbourne, we shouldn't be growing spinach, but this is a perennial spinach, so it will grow all year round. Into the juice box, there we go. Take out this kale, and this is a bit like, do this, look at that. There's a blue Scotch kale into the juice box. And that's breakfast right there. A few nuts, a bit of almond milk, but laughing. Talk about the flood and drain. Now that's flooding. Actually, so it's draining. It's exhausting. So what happened here is all the water that's filled up here, it's hit the top, now it's draining back into the sump tank. And that's the circulation, simple as that. Slowly fills, the roots are in the water, then they're out of the water. So they've got water, and then they've got oxygen. Water and oxygen, so they're never drowned. And that's the basic principle of the flood and drain concept, which is used commonly in aquaponics and hydroponics, but this is a sort of a hybrid of the two, and that's why. And it's where it's different to pure hydroponics, where hydroponics they'll drain that water, they'll drain every month. We don't, we recycle it. So we're keeping it very organic. So that's why I call it organic hydroponics. Great, easy, once it's set up, easy to maintain. To actually, the other way of adding plants, if you don't have the grow towers, here's another plant. Just dig a hole, small hole in the gravel, put it in, that's it, done. That's it. As you can see here, you can see the old container which was used. That's how simple it is. And if you need to move it, you can scoop it up and move it. Not a problem at all. So that's me, Justin at Agri Aquaponics. I thank you very much for your time on this Saturday morning. I will be hosting live videos every week at 8 a.m. every Saturday, talking about different concepts. We'll look at my commercial aquaponics system soon. We'll also look at common problems. We'll look at, and I'll field questions. Send questions to me if you've got any questions for me to answer. I'm happy to do that. But thank you for your time this morning. And the main thing, turn off the news and build a garden. Thank you.